Hello and welcome to the Southbound Sports Show. I'm your host, Richie Leahy, here with my co-host, Maddie B. And for the first time, I think we got the entire audio. I'm still trying to figure out the new mic. It seemed like I was too close to it last week, so I'm going to back up a bit and see if we get a good sound. But I'm glad that fiasco's over. They kept giving me the runaround, and then they asked, and they're like, did you fix your issue? And I thought, I'm going to wait till this week and let them know. No, I just had to get a different product. Your product drivers just suck. I don't know what to tell you. Everything else works except for your thing. It's not my computer, buddy. It's not my computer. Although, I hate having so many computers anyway. And I've been downsizing, so we'll see. Maybe if this works, then we could just keep it, roll with it. I won't touch it. Let's do the show. But as I was going through stuff, we did have a mailbag question come in. And I don't even know if we talked about it on the big show for a while. But we had someone ask if we were still using our Garmin watch. We both had the Solar version. I had the Surf version. Do you have the Surf version, or do you have a different one? I can't even remember.
No.
So do you still have yours?
Still have it.
All right. Because I still have mine, too. How's your battery life?
Battery life has still, I think, been relatively decent. The one thing that I noticed is that as far as the battery life, I'm just more frustrated recently with the charger. I feel like I've gone through a lot more of the USB chargers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't think I've lost a charger yet.
It's just with plugging it in, it just doesn't maintain the connection to it. It's like I had a bad connector.
Huh. I know it is a unique connector. So I think the kids' watches use the same charger. So I'm pretty sure I got a couple of them. And I do know for theirs, sometimes I have to rotate it. It likes the charger to the one direction. It's if I plug it in and it takes a second and I know it's not going to do it, I'll flip it and then it'll be fine. Sometimes I do clean those connections with a Q-tip every once in a while. If I know, whoa, I was outside running and I got hit, or I'm cutting the grass, I got hit with a dust storm and my arm's super dirty, so my watch is probably dirty. I'll just wash it in the sink with soap, and then I'll take a Q-tip to the connector and dry it. And so far, nothing's really bothered it. I mean, I take it in the pool, I swim with chlorine. I pretty much do everything with it. I don't really take it off.
Well, when I had issues with the charger, I was like, well, I'll look to see what they had available. And when I was looking at the back of it, the one thing that stood out to me was I was like, is the connecting piece to charge it going to be affected? Because it never came with anything. When you see it here, it's it has that bottom piece that,
yeah.
I would think there should be some covering for it. And I did get one at one point, but it's so small. It came out and got lost. But
yeah, I don't cover mine. I don't think the kids' ones are covered either. And so I figured they had to have tested it, right?
But I've knowing full well that I've gone the route of making sure that my emails and other messages go to it. I feel like it's still maintaining a decent charge. And I know that if you're operating it on that higher level, it's going to drain the battery faster. So, I mean, I typically go a couple days or so and then put it on charge. But I mean, knowing that you can go fully solar and just back off some of the extra features, I feel like it's in a good spot.
Yeah, I mean, I usually charge it once a week still. And so that's going outside and being active, I'm actually running. And so I do at least, I think I talked about it last week, I've been doing multiple activities a day. I'm trying to split up my runs to do a half marathon in the fall. So right now I'm on week 2 of that. So I'm doing 20 minutes early in the day, 20 minutes later in the day. Now, if I run outside, I run my normal 5K course right now, so it's more 30 minutes, between 25 and 30. So it's not like it's a little bit longer, but I'm talking about like if I'm doing the bike or trying to do sprints or something, like I'm trying to increase that every week. So like I'm doing 2 longer activities on the watch and it's still not really draining it. The one thing that I did turn off was like that oxygen sensor thing. Like I ran it and that was what was killing my battery. And it said like my oxygen was like fine. And they said like, oh, it's good to run that door in your sleep. You'll know if you have like sleep apnea. And it said I didn't. And then I thought, well, I'm getting more in shape. I'm not like getting fatter. So I don't think I really need that. Like if it says I'm good, I'm good. And so what I'll do is I'll run it like once a month just to see. Because you can manually run it. And then I feel like that turning that off is the only thing I've turned off. I've even been playing around with it more, doing like golf courses and things like that, trying to download it, trying to figure it out, because it is a pain to use the app on my phone to put strokes in. So like I just want to use mine as a virtual golf card. Haven't figured it out yet. If I don't forget, I'll bring it up hopefully in a week or two and give you an update to see if I figured that out. Because I like to wear gloves. I always wore batting gloves, golfing gloves. I wear them on both hands because I putt left-handed. And I golf right-handed. Why? I don't know. There's something wrong with me. But taking the gloves off to use the phone or like touching it really tough to like get your fingers to register is annoying. And I know I could use the golf cart, put it in, and then take a picture of it at the end, and then manually put it in later. But that's a lot of work for me. I'd rather just have it in one spot, my watch, sync it to the app, the Garmin Golf app, and be done with it. Because I use the Garmin app pretty much for everything, I think, now. I have one of the trackers that you can use for like geocaching, and I use that when I go on like outdoor bike rides. Since I told you I was toying around with maybe doing a triathlon, so I have one of those, and I've been using that, and so that syncs. So everything works nicely. Everything kind of syncs together. The exercise bike I got, I can type in like the mileage or whatever. I could sync it up, but I think the speed is off on the bike. And it seems like that's a known thing where I got a Schwinn bike and they said like they overestimate how fast you're going. And so everything else seems to be accurate. So I'm like, I'm not really messing with it. I don't like care. It's not like I'm posting my speeds on social like I'm some kind of psycho. Like, hey, look how fast I'm going on my bike. Like, I don't even want people to know I ride a bike, to be honest. I shouldn't even bring it up on the show. But that's where I'm at right now. Had it at the ocean. Did I use it to check the tides? Hell yeah, I did. Then I know, bro. So I think that's available in all watches. You don't have to have just the surf bottle for that. Because I know that one guy commented like, yeah, people that you get these surf watches, they don't even go surfing. It's like, dude, it's the same exact watch. I get whatever one is cheaper. Like, I don't care if it's surfing. Unless it was like a Tiddlywinks version like Pink Sparkles, I probably wouldn't get that no matter how cheap it is. You gotta pay for class, Matt. But I will say I've liked it so much that they have the what is it? The more expensive like high-end model with solar now. The one that you can actually, and it might not even be the high-end one. It might only be like $500. Because what I get mine for was like $200, $300 on Black Friday or something, which I had been buying fitness bands at like $100, and I had to buy one every year because of how often I used it. Like I was using them every day when I started running to get in shape. Now, this watch I've had for at least 2 years now, maybe going on 3. So the price pretty much will pay for itself, and then if I get another 2 years out of it, the only reason I would think of upgrading is I think the newer ones allow you to do talk to text. And the number of times people were like, you didn't text me back. And I just have it hot-rodded right now to just like I just hit one button and I automatically just type back, okay. Like, would it be faster for me just to say, okay, stop bothering me? You know? Or like I could just have a bunch of preloaded texts that like every variation of okay I want to send people back. Because like I'll be out running and I don't want, oh, blah, blah, blah. Like, is this important? Do I need to be texting you back? I just write back, okay. That might be the only reason that pushed me over the edge. Because I think you can make calls on it, too. It's like, really, just call me while I'm running. Or doing something or riding the bike. Like, I don't need to be texting you. That's my rant. I'd rather have people not contact me at all. I needed one of those guys where you just live in a hut in the woods and you can say, oh, sorry, I didn't have service. I go to town every Saturday morning and get all my texts, and then I delete them all. And go back to my hut. But that's my update. Hopefully, if you're interested in getting one, that could put you over the edge, because, I mean, we both still have ours, so they can't be crappy. And the battery, I think, would be the big thing. That's what was killing me in the past. But the solar battery, whatever's in here, better than an Apple Watch. I've seen the new ones they announced. I think they announced it like this week even. And if the battery only lasts 18 hours, I couldn't use it. I would have to charge that thing like 2 or 3 times a day. And at that point, who needs that much nagging? Right?
Yep.
I got it for the battery life. Battery life still rocks. Can't complain. End of story. Anything else you want to add?
No, I mean, just overall, I've been really satisfied with it. I feel like we got them. We got these a couple of years ago, and they're still maintaining. I felt like the only major thing that I did was just upgraded the band on it, just to get a more durable band. But overall, it's doing exactly what I need it to do. So,
see, I didn't even do that, and I was looking at it the other day, because someone asked me, like, can you get different bands for that? And I thought, that's what you're asking me? Like, hey, cool. Well, can you get different bands?
The only reason I looked at it was because it got one of the smaller clasp got snagged on something and it like ripped, and I was like, oh, I need to just get a new like clasp. But then I was like, well, then I started getting all those like random spam ads for bands. I was like, all right, well, this looks like this may be a little bit better functional.
See, I haven't replaced mine, but that happened on my old Garmin, and I have a bag of clasps. Like, it was like, pay $5, get 100 clasps. And I'm like, do I need 100 clasps? No. But they just came in a Ziploc bag, and I'm pretty sure I just threw it in my drawer, and it's just in there. Like, I know if I throw it away, my clasp will get lost and broken like the very next day. I don't even know if it fits on this watch. I should probably check them. But considering the last watch I had was a Garmin, and I think the band was like very similar, I would bet that they fit. Although maybe if I do dig them out, I'll post a picture on Twitter or something. Like, I've been hoarding these watch things for like years, and they don't even fit my watch. That'd be a sad move on my part. But yeah, I didn't even think of that. I haven't updated mine. I thought maybe someone was making a comment because it does look like kind of plastic, but again, it's a fitness watch. I don't care what it looks like. Like, ours kind of look the same. Mine just has like, I think, a green, like neon greenish yellow surf stuff on the thing, but you can't even really see that unless you're really looking at the watch head. I think that's the difference between the two. Because I thought, do I want to get the cheaper one and have that? You can't tell. So why do I care? Some of the tracking stuff, the activities, I have been looking at my insights more, and because I do the stair stepper, it thinks that I've been climbing like actual stairs. So it said I'm in like the top percentile of people climbing stairs in their daily life. Over the past year, I got like an award, and I'm like, what are they talking about? And then I'm like, oh, because I do the stair stepper. They think, because I'm like doing the steps, and that's the only activity I could find that actually would like give me steps. Like, I would count them and kind of see what was the closest, and that was the closest activity. Like, elliptical didn't do it, and I am doing steps, so that made sense, right? Because you're kind of going up. So I'm guessing the watch like has a different motion type thing. Because like if I do the elliptical, and like if I set it to elliptical and I try to just like even walk back and forth like around my house to see how it's counting steps, it doesn't nearly get as many. So I've actively been trying every activity, and the stair stepper, doing like the stepper, like old lady aerobics, like it actually counts a step. When you're doing the indoor bike, I don't get any steps, but I did come up with like a pseudo elliptical thing where it came with like weights. So if I set it to like stair stepper or elliptical, I don't know, I'd have to check which one I used. There might have been another treadmill one, but if I do like dumbbell curls, it does count them as steps pretty close to however many. I mean, I cranked the resistance up to like 90% on the bike, so it's actively like a heavy, like you're barely taking steps, and I'm doing curls when I do it. And I thought that's a good mix-up.
Okay.
That's a good mix-up because it's almost the same as like doing a heavier elliptical type thing. Instead of just pedaling the bike for 40 minutes, do 10 minutes of that. That is the one thing that I noticed, the heart rate from doing the indoor bike, no matter what I do, if I'm doing that or whatever, my heart rate could be in zone 4 like the entire time, according to their watch, which some people said is zone 3 regular. I don't know. But I've noticed that it doesn't give me a actual like workout rating. It tells me that that was a light recovery workout, so something has to be up on it. It must be the time. Someone told me that if you're riding a bike, you have to work twice as long as what it would be for a run. So like if I'm running hard for 10 minutes on outside and I do the same hard biking workout, even if my heart rate's the same, I burn the same calories or whatever, it says that I think in the watch mind, I'd have to do it twice as long maybe. But I haven't tested that, and because I really don't care. Like, what do I care what they rate, right? It's more like just tracking like your own fitness. I think some people get too much into the numbers, because someone was like, oh, you can get like new bike pedals that would use like these sensors. They're $1,000 set. I'm like, dude, I'm not paying for bike pedals that cost more than the bike to get accurate time for like what, a virtual bike workout? Like, are you kidding me? Why would I need that? I can just ride a real bike outside once a week if I really wanted to get like what my training is. But I will say the hill by my house is like a pain in my ass. I cruised up it after only 1 week of being on the bike because it kills your thighs, dude. Like, it'll burn and shred them. Not going to lie. Like, that's the one thing that even doing the steps, after a while, I think your body just kind of gets numb to like doing, even if I had the higher one what was my highest? 12 inches maybe? No, that can't be right, is it? How high are steps usually? 8 inches?
That's a good question.
I don't know. I feel like it can't be that high, right? Kids have to use them. But whatever stepper I got, I think it's 12 inches or whatever. Even doing that, the bike on like high resistance, like I told you, set it up to like 80% and just crank it and do curls while you're doing it. Kills your thighs. Because someone said, if you're doing heavy, try not to stand up all the time. You can mix it up, like do a standing, but if you sit down, it gives you a different angle. And they're right. Like if you mix standing and sitting, high resistance, your entire quad burns. And not just like, I guess, the tops from standing up. Because it must be the way your knee works or something. I don't know. That's my non-scientific ad for the show this week. You been working out? You have a sweater on, dude. It's warm down here.
No, I got a t-shirt on.
Oh, it looked like you had a sweatshirt on. I must be losing my mind.
No, I've still been maintaining running and lifting and stuff. The weird thing was that I feel like I cut my run times down, like knocked 3 minutes off because of the end of the school year. I don't know if it was just like that, like all that end of year paperwork was about wrapped up. That it was like my body was like, okay, now we can just relax. And
see, that's good. And now you have the watch where you can go back in time and see your best personal best and see if you've actually cut time down. Do you do that?
So I know for sure that I have. I mean, it comes and goes just because I just hate it so much. It's just like I alternate like different genres of music or different things to try to distract me while I'm going.
See,
although the one thing I noticed more recently is that like my feet just feel tight, like where right around where you get shin splints at, like in that like below your calf area.
Yeah.
I know like my legs are like really. It takes a while to like stretch and loosen them, but like once I get going and I'm into the flow thing, it's not terrible.
Do you do any yoga or stretching on this?
I do a little bit, but probably not nearly as much as what I probably should.
Because I was going to ask, when you listen to music, do you have headphones on?
Yep.
See, that's the one thing I can't do. Like, I don't like having earbuds in. I've tried over the head once. It just is like, it bothers me. I did crank up outside. I put music on my phone when I did the second half of like the half marathon I did. I was like, I'm dying and I need something to just like help me keep pace. So I tried to put on like a heavier metal type album to kind of make me try to keep the rhythm going harder than if I was just like laying back.
Well, I had these ones that were wraparounds, but they weren't like in the ear, and I felt like I liked that a little bit better because I could hear more of like what's going on around me.
Was it like a neck one?
No, it goes around my ears.
Because I was gonna say I have seen people that have like a sweatband that has it built in, and now that I think about it, that might be the route for me to go. Because then you would be able to hear. I mean, I run on a greenway outside of like when I'm like running for times or whatever, so like there's no one. Although you hear people beep their little bells on their bike.
All of a sudden, something jumps out at you and you they go flying.
Well, it's the bikers, dude. Left. That's why I don't like bringing up that I've been working out on a bike, because then everyone thinks I'm annoying, right? Everyone hates bikers. I've never heard one driver been like, you know what I really enjoy? Getting stuck behind a guy on a bike. Never. So, but yeah, that'll be our top of the show. So if you have any other questions, because this is off season right now, I know we have some topics that we're going to get into here in a second, but trying to just stay in shape, and I do use my watch daily still. And so I even get alerts from, like I said, text messages and things like that. And it's just better because then I reduce my screen time because I never have my phone on me now, I feel like. So if I had to talk to text, maybe that would be more annoying for people because then I might text more. It depends on how intuitive it would be. But we'll see. I'll try to go through some more activities because I did notice they had some weird ones on there that I haven't done yet. And so that could be something we talk about. I don't know if you tried the different ones, but they have built-in workouts you can download, like for lifting weights, or that's what I was trying to do on the bike to see if I downloaded their workouts. Because right now the bike came with like, I don't know what it is, the Journey app or something. I got 2 months for free. So you pick a workout and then you pick like a scenery for them to like drone you through. But the VR drone thing doesn't match your tempo. So it's kind of disorienting because they'll be like, all right, we're going to crank up our speed. And you're pedaling harder, but the camera's just moving just as slow. And then I've noticed that some of the cameras, like, they're real time. Like one guy must have been biking, taking this, because a car was coming down the road towards him on a one-wayer. And the car, like, wrecked into the bush. And then I bust out laughing while I'm biking. I'm like, I don't think this is supposed to be in here. Like, I didn't expect the guy. I forget what it was, like Ireland or England or something. It's like backcountry roads it was called, I think. And then you're just pedaling down this, like, oh, I thought it was a greenway. But then this car came flying around the bend, and he just saw the guy, must have saw the guy on the bike that was taking the video, and just swerved into the hill. And I thought, wow, crazy. I got the other one I did today. I think it was in Utah. Some girl was like running, and the guy on the bike almost hit her. She jumped out of the way because her friend pulled her aside. And so that's why you don't wear headphones when you're running, because you don't know if the guy's yelling laughed behind him, and you're taking up both spots of the sidewalk. He's going to run you over if he's doing a VR video for an exercise app, because he can't stop. He'd have to redo the entire ride, right? 10 miles or whatever it is. But all right, let's get into some football topics. I hate bringing this up because we talked about Aaron Rodgers for like 2 months now, and now we could finally stop talking about him because he signed with the Steelers. And so now I can give my excitement ratings for the upcoming season. I think I'm at a solid 4 right now, somewhere between a 3 and a 5. Do I think they'll make the playoffs? Maybe. I'm not even sold they'll make the playoffs because has he made the playoffs with the Jets? No. Hasn't won a playoff game since like 2021 or something. So, well, you're not bringing excitement in to me. Like when the Bucs had Tom Brady, they had just beat the Rams in the Super Bowl like 2 years prior or whatever. Yeah. They were getting a champ. Aaron Rodgers hasn't been a champ in like, 15 years? He did it one time. And then they put the video or that picture I sent you where him and DK Metcalf are on the golf cart together. What a joke. I did think it was funny that AB had like a meltdown after. I don't know if you saw where he said that Aaron Rodgers called him back when he started to report that he was going to be a Steeler and asked him if he would be interested in rejoining the Steelers if they could work something out. But now that Aaron Rodgers is there, Antonio Brown would surely have to start showing up eventually, right? If that was true.
You would think.
So that would be funny if they bring him back and they just have one more go at it. I mean, technically, Antonio Brown got his ring with Tom Brady. So he doesn't really have much more to come back for. His legacy wouldn't improve as much as Aaron Rodgers would. If Aaron Rodgers somehow would win the Super Bowl with the Steelers, I think that would put him ahead of a lot of other quarterbacks for people. Because some people even consider him like the greatest quarterback of our current time. Which to me, I don't even think he's on Ben Roethlisberger's level. Like, I don't care what the stats are. You have to kind of win and be consistent. Like Ben had the 2 Super Bowls, and he played with the same team and went out kind of without flaming out. He didn't do a Jets experiment where he flailed around. Right?
Right.
And I mean, it depends on what you consider the generation, right? Because Aaron Rodgers' career almost lines up perfectly. I mean, it started later than Tom Brady's, but that's basically the timeline. It's not like Aaron Rodgers, like where Tom Brady left off and Patrick Mahomes came in. If Patrick Mahomes plays for like 10 more years, I would consider the timelines to go from Tom Brady to Patrick Mahomes. There's no like space for people to say, well, Aaron Rodgers was the best quarterback for this section. Like he's always going to either be behind Tom Brady for me or Patrick Mahomes. There's no gap where Aaron Rodgers is like the best. He won the 1 Super Bowl, but Tom Brady's, it was during his streak where he actually won with 2 different teams and he won like the most ever. Like you can't even say, well, Tom Brady really stunk there. It's like, no, he really didn't. Yeah, he got hurt that one time, and they were close battling with the Steelers back and forth with Ben. That's why I would even put Ben behind Tom Brady at one point. Like, I don't even think I would have Aaron Rodgers. I know Aaron Rodgers beat Ben in that Super Bowl, but do you even have him like at 3? To me, I don't at any point. It's like Tom Brady, probably Ben underneath him, or maybe even Peyton Manning, right? Like Aaron Rodgers is like, what, 4th at best? There's no argument, so I don't even know.
I don't even know that I would put him ahead of Brett Favre as the all-time like quarterback for the Packers.
Oh, no, Favre has to be the guy, right? Multiple Super Bowls, no off-the-field issues. That's a joke. Nothing like that would hurt your legacy, right? Make people hate you. But they, I mean, even with Bart Starr, like, do you have, going back, like, you can't just ignore a guy that wins multiple Super Bowls. and championships, right? I think he won championships before, unless I'm just wrong. But,
Yeah.
I mean, like, at what point do you even put Aaron Rodgers in that discussion? But yeah, you're right. Because even with Tom Brady or not Tom Brady, with Ben Roethlisberger, you have to bring up Terry Bradshaw for the same reason. Different eras, but the guy wins multiple Super Bowls. Can you put Ben ahead of him? No, that's why I was talking about the recent quarterback times that we've been living in. Now, I think the torch was passed. Tom Brady retires. It was clearly Patrick Mahomes taking over. They can throw a Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson at me, Joe Burrow, but these guys, they haven't got it done. So we're at a point now where they have to start winning. Someone else has to step up. If Aaron Rodgers can go ahead and do it, yeah, he can have a long, consistent career. But you're looking at other guys, too, in that same discussion. Like, what if Matt Stafford gets it done again? Like, at that point, would he be above Aaron Rodgers? Maybe. I mean, he had a worse franchise he was playing with. And then he wins with the Rams if he gets it done again. Or like any of these guys, any of these other like up-and-comers. All it takes is 2 Super Bowls. And then you're on the other side. And he's playing in the AFC. So he has to go through a murderer's row of other quarterbacks and other teams that are going to be just going for at least respect. Like Lamar Jackson, he has to be pushing through and wanting to get it done. Same with Josh Allen. Like, you're not just going to go ahead and be like, well, we can't get past Patrick Mahomes. Oh, wait, here's Aaron Rodgers. He's going to sink right through with a Steelers team that hasn't done anything in years. Like, you have to be kind of delusional to think that this is a Super Bowl team. I've seen people project it. Like, this could be the year. It's like, how many times are you wrong? You could bet on him not to win the Super Bowl and probably have worse odds and come out way on top if you can get someone to get that bet for you, right?
Yeah.
So, like, what?
I do think if you gamble that he's going to come through, eventually, maybe you hit pay dirt.
Well, that's what I was going to say. What odds would you give him to win even the division, right? Because you're going up against those same guys, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson. Like, what are the odds?
I don't think those odds are really good.
I would bet on that. If you're looking for a chance of actually hitting, I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl. I could come back with egg on my face and people buying houses with their tickets or whatever of him, like putting tons of money on him winning the Super Bowl. But if you're going to bet, and you probably want good odds, bet on them winning the AFC North. Because I don't think it's good. I think you'll be able to get good odds on that, right?
I mean, I almost feel like the AFC North SECs themselves, where they beat each other, and then they hit the playoffs, and they just get smoked.
Well, that's why you have so many guys in that division that have to like relax and go to like a massage parlor for a good bit of their off season. Really put in work.
Take the edge off.
Like that kicker. And then Harbaugh, was it Harbaugh Jr.? Is that the one? He's like, oh yeah, I don't know why we had to cut that guy. He's a good kicker. he had like the highest percentage. Is it Tucker that got pinched now? First you had Deshaun. And I know, it's a joke. Sean started his escapades when he was in like what, the AFC South with Houston. I know all the details. Now he's there, and that was like the worst signing. The Browns getting him. Now all he does is have downtime. But they did get the next it quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, which I don't know if you read their OTA report, but people were like, oh my gosh, Shedeur Sanders, he actually throws the ball way better than Dylan Gabriel. It's like, yeah, no shit. Dude, that's why he was projected to be in the first round. Like, are you serious? Like, they were like, what a steal we got in that 5th round. It's like, yeah, it's the character issue. This is not the throwing the ball guy. Like, that's why he fell. It has nothing to do with him throwing the ball. Everyone knows he's awesome at quarterbacking, like throwing wise. Now, is it going to be off the field stuff? Is he going to have his head on right? Is he going to come in and work hard? Maybe because he fell, but like writing articles about how awesome he is isn't going to help your team. Like, you need to give him just bad press, I feel like. Like, well, the Browns chalk us up for 2 wins. Shedeur Sanders stinks. And then that might motivate him to go out and win, right? That's what Cleveland needs. They need to motivate the guy, not bring him up and talk about how awesome he is and how he's like going to be the day one starter now. Then you're back to where you were. You might as well have wasted a first-round pick on the guy. So, and then I see a lot of people talking up like Kenneth Grant, Michigan's pick from the Dolphins. He fell in the first round. And I've been saying for 2 years, this guy is a monster. You can't run at that size and not be good. So like people that are surprised and they're saying like, wow, why wasn't he a top 10 pick? It's like, yeah, I don't know. Like he could have very easily went number 1 overall and I would have said, oh, okay, that makes sense. He was awesome. National champ, ran down that Penn State running back from behind. Like how many D linemen are running down a running back from behind to save the game? Like he legit saved the national championship by tackling that guy, and then Penn State couldn't score, and all Michigan did was run the clock out by running the ball like 30 times in a row. if Kenneth Grant lets that guy run for a touchdown, I don't know if Michigan gets it done. So like if that's all they had to say, like unless he was doing like horrible in like the meeting rooms and not understanding the playbook or something, I don't know. But like saying that like the Dolphins got to steal, it's like, yeah, I know. I was surprised he kept falling. Now he could still be a bust. I don't know. This is only OTA talk. Those were the 2 guys that I saw like everyone like that was trending: Kenneth Grant and Shedeur Sanders. And the Shedeur Sanders one was cracking me up because I'm like, yeah, of course he's good. Everyone has been saying he's good. They just don't want to believe it because his dad. And then his dad is sick, so hopefully he gets healed up. He had to fly back home. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah, he like has some undisclosed illness, so he had to excuse himself to go back for recovery. And I know he had issues with like what I don't even know what was his foot thing. Was it diabetes or something? He had his foot amputated before, so
he's suddenly having pains because he can't coach his son Travis Hunter anymore.
Son Travis Hunter. That's one guy I haven't heard about, to be honest. I think he's with Jacksonville, right?
He is in Jacksonville. The one thing that I saw from their OTAs is that he just continues to dance throughout practice. And there's other receivers that are like, you need to stop. And then he just keeps dancing. So he's going to end up getting beat up.
I saw that Trevor Lawrence like came in with new throwing motion or something, and I thought, why? Bro, this is like a Tim Tebow-esque thing to be doing. No one has ever said, like, you know whose throwing sucks? Trevor Lawrence. So, like, for him to come in and be like, you know what, I got to mix it up, that's not boding well. I didn't get good vibes. I thought, thank you for writing this article, because I know in my back of my mind, I'll say, I can draft Trevor Lawrence for cheap. No one else wants him. And now that I know he's, like, doing throwing motion stuff, I can't risk it. Travis Hunter, like, that would be a $2 draft pick that could end up working out. I mean, I've won with Trevor Lawrence before. So I got to make sure for fantasy that, like, I don't let the hype get me. Don't draft Travis Hunter. I know I want to deep down. The Travis Hunter, Trevor Lawrence, that could be a good discount thing. Because I don't think people are going to really bid Travis Hunter up because they don't know what he's going to be playing, right? If he's playing both ways, there's no way he's getting 10 targets a game. You're looking at, what, 4, 5, like a Charles Woodson at Michigan type deal, where you're getting a couple targets, that's it, like a pre-package. Unless he's playing full-time receiver. But I think he's going to take him a while to spin up, like those Ohio State guys. You get him the first year, if you can get him for cheap, then you wait for them to come in the system for a while. Otherwise, you're just like burning a pick, right? Like that one year I got Olave for cheap. The next year he took off. This year I tried to get Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't even know if that's a good keeper pick because I don't even know what I paid for him. If it was like 18, that might be too much unless they're projecting him at like 50. But with their quarterback situation, I doubt it. right? So, like, that's probably going to be a bust.
They have a good quarterback situation.
You think so?
I do think so.
I don't know.
I mean, good for fantasy, not for real life.
What about, do they still have Connor as a running back, or did he leave?
He's probably still there.
Because I knew he was debating it, and I don't know if he left or not. So, I don't know. I got to do my max research. I'll give you my tips ahead of time. I got to get back in the winner's circle. It's been a year. I can't be losing that long, right? Have to go on another drought. What did I win? 2 or 3 in a row? You can't. That's magic. That's like Tom Brady-esque. And you can't do it by drafting bums, baby. You got to get good discount deals, like Trevor Lawrence with a new arm and a new Travis Hunter dancing out there. And then you watch it, and you're like, why am I spending every Sunday watching this 2-16 Jaguars team? Then you hate your life. Then you know what it's like to be a Browns fan if you draft guys like me. Any other NFL things you want to talk about?
I don't have NFL, but I do have professional with a spring/summer league that I saw. The Ohio Valley Ironmen, based out of West Virginia, picked up their first win. And new team and trying to incorporate that Pittsburgh, West Virginia, Ohio market. Their general manager and head coach is Manny Matsakis. He's a coach that I've really been doing some research on here over the winter. And with his offensive style, they put up, I think 40. I think they won 45-0 their first game. So it was good to see new team, new to the area. I'm gonna try to possibly get out in July to see them play.
What league is that?
It's IFCC, something like that.
I don't know. That's how you can get into coaching, bro. Start coaching some random team.
Oh yeah, because that would definitely put me on the easy path track to getting divorced.
Well, you got to decide, what do you love more, your family or football?
Just rebound like Bill Belichick on the back end.
Yeah, it could work out. You could have your pick of young models that want you to do Instagram photos where you're like fishing and there are mermaids coming in. Yeah, because like think of how many weekends you're sitting around and you're like, what is there to do? It's like, I don't have anything to do. It's like, well, get a fishing rod. I got an idea. Let's go. Your whole life could be an adventure, dude. And then you have to introduce the players like, hey guys, this is my wife. It's a little bit over the top, but you just got to bear with me. My life is full of adventures. It's a magical journey for us. Any questions? They're not even married, though, are they? She's just there.
I think maybe they're engaged.
Because it's like, you know how you have to have that discussion? Like, hey, where's this relationship going? And she's like, going? It's already there. We're engaged, aren't we? And then he's like, yes. And she's like, perfect. I'll tell everyone on the news today. So, the one where he's like giving her the airplane, where he's laying back on the beach and his like legs are up. That one cracks me up because that's like a move you do with your kids, right? Everyone else wants to do, what was that like dancing movie from the 80s where they like pick the girl up?
Yeah, Dirty Dancing.
He's like, no, dude, I'm going to lay down like you're a kid. I'm going to put you on my feet.
This is safer so you don't throw your back out.
He's like, I don't know if I can handle picking you up. We'll go. I've tried this with my kids. Get down here. And she's like, this could work. Just take a photo. So, I mean, I wonder, they have to have someone else there, right? Because they can't just be doing it themselves.
I would think, yes.
He would have to have kids. What if it's like his kid doing it? Like, hey, you're in school, you need a summer job? Yeah, Dad, am I going to be coaching at UNC with you? Oh, no. Oh no, I need you to take photos of me and my girlfriend at the beach. And anywhere else she wants, like, no matter what we're doing. We could be doing like a mud thing. I don't know. Just come down. Because I know his son, he has at least a son, right? He has. Does he have a daughter? I don't know. Because his son is supposed to be the coach in waiting. It's like the Step Brothers, where he comes in the interview and the other brother's just there, but it's his son. And real life, you're like, what's he doing here? Oh, he's going to be coaching when I retire. I'm getting him the job. I'm doing the interview. You're hiring me, but then you're just going to give it to him after. And UNC is so desperate. They're like, we'll do it. And then they're like, well, why is this girl here too? Oh, she's filming the whole thing, so we can post it on Instagram later. Oh, okay, gotcha. That's UNC football. Now, if they win, actually, if they make the playoffs, I'm going to have to just say Bill Belichick is back on one of the greatest coaches trains for me. Because right now, I think with Brady gone, he's fallen off. I don't know if I'd consider him one of the greatest coaches. I'm not even saying the greatest NFL coach because I don't think that's true. I'm just saying he wouldn't be on the greatest list of coaches. That, like, if he wins at UNC, though, that will elevate him back up. Because you have to win at both levels, remember. Nick Saban didn't win in the NFL, so that's why he always talked about, like, oh, I'm the greatest college coach. It's like, yeah, because you couldn't cut it in the NFL. But you have guys like Pete Carroll and Harbaugh that could cut it at both. Like, if Harbaugh wins the Super Bowl, to me, you have to put him ahead of Saban. I don't care how many championships Saban's won with, like, the number one rated recruiting class at Alabama. You didn't win at the highest level, buddy. So, like, he'll never, to me, right now, people talk about, like, the greatest coaches in college. It's like, you got to include Pete Carroll. You got to. He won at both levels. I know there were some other guys like Jimmy Johnson. Some people said that was more of like a manufactured thing, but the guy still got it done. So I think a lot of it's like recency type stuff and like the playoffs Alabama type stuff. But if you have the highest talented team every single year, yeah, you should win a few national championships. Like unless you're like a complete bomb. That's why it's like surprising. Like some of these guys that have, like Lincoln Riley when he was like in the Pac-12, he came in, had like all these highest recruiting classes, and he's like losing to Utah. It's like, what are you doing, dude? But you have to break through. I mean, it took Harbaugh a while to break through. He got it done. Now check that box off. The monkey off his back, like Steve Young. If they win a Super Bowl, like I said, especially with like the Chargers this year up against in a conference with Mahomes. Put him up there. If Belichick comes in, if Belichick wins a national championship at UNC, he's ahead of all those guys. Because who the hell is winning at UNC? Like Harbaugh winning at Michigan, not a surprise. They're blue blood. Oh, Pete Carroll winning at USC, not a surprise. They're really a blue blood, right? Belichick winning at UNC, oh, discussion over. He's like the greatest coach of all time. Saban couldn't win at UNC. He couldn't win at Michigan State. Yeah, he won at LSU. Oh, Orgeron won at LSU, dog. They fired him. Right? It's easy discussion. I don't care what happens because SMU made the playoffs last year from the ACC in their first year. If Belichick somehow comes in laser focused with all the off the field stuff, gets them in the playoffs, and by some miracle they win the national championship. And then, like, teams like Notre Dame has been, like, knocking at the door trying to get relevant again. But, like, people said, hey, you know the next team from the ACC that wins the national championship? And then people were like, oh, probably, like, Miami, right? Or Florida State comes back. Maybe Clemson. And they're like, no, it was Belichick at UNC. Stop the presses, bro. Greatest coach of all time. Just build a statue out there of him with the fishing rod or whatever he wants. Right outside the stadium. Get it done. Log up. I don't care if he has 3 sons and they like do some type of king like succession plan. That's what you're going to sign up for that because UNC is not winning a football national championship. I don't even think they've ever won one. Right? They didn't even win the ACC. So like that would be the most insane thing, and that's what I want more coaches to do with this new NIL era, which is I think that's my next topic, right? Because there were a lot of things. breaking around with the NCAA and like paying players. So now the new thing that came out, there were actually a couple of things I had on my list for this one. The NCAA met with Michigan last week. Just throwing this in here real quick to do like their discussion for a penalty. Connor Stallions showed up at that meeting. And I think that was like out of left field for a lot of reporters, because a lot of the reporters that were saying it was going to be bad said that Michigan had no defense. People weren't showing up because they know they didn't have a defense. When Connor Stallions showed up, the media shifted. So I'm thinking, I don't know what's going to happen, but it's not. I don't think it's going to be as bad as what the media originally made it seem. Like the NCAA is rushing to get this done. They made it seem like it was going to leak out the punishment and it was going to be like a hammer. But then Stallion shows up and they reiterate that Sharon Moore's text had nothing to do with Stallions and that he's really only in trouble for deleting them, even though they then gave them back to the NCAA. So it's like, okay, is that even bad? Because the only thing that, to me, the worst thing would have been if Stallions was at the Central Michigan game. That could have been scouting a future opponent, right? Was that the only time he did it? Because if that was the only time he did it, Michigan fired him or put him on suspension before that game. And if he's the only one that knew, then realistically, because I saw someone breaking down if they could vacate wins, if that was the only future scouted opponent and he didn't coach, you really can't vacate that win. You couldn't vacate any of the ones that Stallions wasn't on the sideline for, which includes the national championship, what's everyone saying. Now, if they want to go back and try to like vacate the other ones, I don't know if you can do that, because in the past, it's only been a fine. I did see one of the, I think it was, I don't know if it was Yahoo or ESPN reporters, or maybe it was The Athletic, saying that in the NFL, this would have been a penalty no matter what for Harbaugh, and he would have been fined. And I'm like, okay, so you're advocating that Michigan just gets fined and that's the penalty? Because to me, a fine is nothing, right? Like if you're a rival fan, like let's say Matt right now, doesn't like what Miami gets an investigation for something, and the penalty is just a fine, would you care? They could fundraise that in one day.
Yeah, and the NIL movement, yeah.
Yeah, like if, Michigan won national championship. Oh, yeah, they cheated to do it. Well, what was the penalty? They got fined $10,000. It's like, okay, really? That's all? That must not have been a bad thing that they did. So I don't know. I'm not really sure on this NCAA thing, because in the meantime, there were a couple coordinated hits out there. I know you haven't followed the NCAA stuff as closely, but one of the theories out there was that Harbaugh was targeted by the NCAA because they wanted to pay players. Well, I saw an article saying that, well, that can't be true. The NCAA now allows schools to pay players. Harbaugh was talking about that. He was at Michigan for, 8 years? And he hasn't been coaching at Michigan for another year. So, it's taken them, 9, 10 years to make progress on that. Right? Because that started when Harbaugh started here. He did the camps in the South. Talked about how students that didn't have a lot of money couldn't afford to go to all these camps at the big schools, so he was going to bring the camps to underprivileged areas, right? SEC and the NCAA shut that down real quick. Then he had the camps where Michigan would go and play overseas, and they met the Pope, and they did this stuff. And then the NCAA was really trying to shut that down, too. But then it's funny because college basketball programs do that. They're always playing overseas. So it just seemed like, yeah, they are targeting him. And so maybe it wasn't the paying, but the investigations to Michigan stopped when Harbaugh left. Really. If you're looking at it from the outside, that's exactly what happened. The Sharon Moore stuff was all tied to COVID. And someone was saying well, these COVID penalties are real bad. COVID? You have guys playing that are 30 years old on 8-year COVID waivers. I think that's more impactful than meeting a guy for a cheeseburger, right? That may or may not have happened. It's just insane. So the paying thing, though, was the big topic I wanted to talk about, because I don't know if you saw this. The new rule is that universities can pay athletes up to whatever percent of their TV money, or they have to pay it, or whatever it is now, their revenue. So if I think it's mainly TV money, right? Because you can still sell jerseys and likeness, and that's more of an NIL on the side thing. But the payment comes directly from, I think it's television or broadcast rights, because you're actually showing them on TV. This is like what the court case decided. So you have to give a percentage of that money to the players. And they're going to give it to football first, men's basketball, and then women's basketball, and then other athletics. I think we talked about it a little bit last week, but some more details came out where they're saying that schools like the Big East in basketball, where they don't play football, their money goes directly to men's basketball then. So where football, you're splitting up the pie between 100 dudes. In basketball, you're splitting up between 5 guys, 15 guys? 15 guys at most. So be on the lookout for some of these smaller schools, because I wanted to bring it up for baseball too. Some schools might not even really be focusing too much on basketball or whatever. They can go ahead and funnel it to other sports. So you might see, if you look at the College World Series this year, you have I think Murray State, Coastal Carolina. These teams are taking out the heavy SEC-landed schools that were supposed to have all the top recruits, were supposed to have all this stuff. If you're a pure baseball school like Coastal Carolina, where they won the national championship a few years ago, that is their premier sport. If all their NIL is going to baseball, it's going to be hard for them not to be competitive, right?
Yeah.
Because you're in the South. Even these big schools, you're going to go ahead and take a tour at UNC was ranked number 1, right? You're a baseball star. You go to UNC campus. What are they going to show you? They're going to show you the basketball gym, right? It's like baseball with Belichick there, you're clear at best, third fiddle. You go to Coastal Carolina, you're top dog on campus, right? I don't think they're trying to bring their football up right now, but their premier sport is baseball. And that's why they can be competitive in the NIL era, that a lot of these other schools, and I've talked about how the Big Ten is going to start winning some of these other championships in sports with the West Coast schools like USC and UCLA, they have the most national championships anyway, with Stanford, I think. Now you're going to be having the money. We're going to see if Stanford can stay competitive. Because if you're out west, and all things considered equal, the Big Ten says, oh yeah, this is what we pay our Olympic athletes at USC and UCLA, and then they go to Stanford, and Stanford's like, oh, we pay you half that, or less than half of that. It's easy for them to say, all right, I'm just going to go to USC then, right? There's not really any drop-off, in my mind, between academics, right? You could say Stanford's maybe a little bit higher, but USC is a private school, and they're highly regarded. Same with UCLA. They're one of the top public schools, if not the top public school. So if you're getting more money to play in the Big Ten because of the TV deals, Stanford's not going to be winning that Director's Cup anymore. Texas has won it. They're going to keep getting more money, right? So they're paying their players. Why would you go to Stanford at this point? And I think that's going to be the shift. Now, there are going to be other schools, like I said, Coastal Carolina or other special schools where they specialize in a sport. Maybe you'll see other teams focus on wrestling or even hockey. We've seen it with Denver. Denver, I think, is it Denver that passed Michigan for national champs or tied with them? I can't remember what we're at. But you can specialize because you go to play hockey at Michigan, no matter how much we talk about it on the show or I talk about it, hockey's third at best at Michigan. Football's number 1. Men's basketball's number 2, as you see from the recruits they've been pulling in. Hockey's still 3. You go to Denver, you're the top dog, right? That's the sport. They're bringing on the national championship. So some of these smaller schools, they're still going to be able to directly compete. And I think it more hurts not so much the Blue Bloods, but a team like Michigan State we're going to see in their hockey team. I think they have like one of the top recruits that's considering them now. What's it come down to? Do they just go to Michigan? Do they go somewhere else? Like, because even like Boston College right now, a lot of their stuff's been shifting to like hockey. They haven't been competitive in football too much. They haven't been competitive to basketball. And the students know, like, hey, if we're winning, I don't care what the sport is, they'll go up and cheer for anything. Like, you're a student at a school and your school is winning baseball, guess what? You're going to go to the baseball games because that's where all like the parties are going to happen. Right? You go to football, but if your team stinks, you're not going to have a good time. So I'm not too worried. I don't know if this big breakoff's going to happen, because even if it does, there's no guarantee the Big Ten and SEC break off into one big conference. What happens to the other sports? Do they still play in the NCAA? Because if they do and they're not winning national champs every year, it's going to be like a joke. Like if you have the two biggest conferences combined to make like one super football conference, but Coastal Carolina is winning baseball national championships, yeah, it's going to be hilarious, right? Because like how are they competing? How wouldn't you know that football is going to win? Right? How do you know one of these other schools aren't better at football? They might be. Because I'm sure back in the day, like they didn't think Miami was going to be good. Or like Florida State was a newcomer. And then Utah was a newcomer. And then UCF was a newcomer. So like you have all these other schools that have had success. Boise State, like they're not going to be able to compete. And then guess what? They are competing. And they're making the playoffs now. So I think you have to have that entry level. And the money coming through, it's only going to help so much because, yeah, you can pay a guy to be a backup like Alabama had been doing or whatever. Once the money dries up, all those dudes are transferring, right? That's why the coaches are trying to stop the transfer portal, because they had an easy backup system that you couldn't really pay. The courts or Congress or whatever they're trying to do, they're not going to be able to stop NIL, right? That's the cat's out of the bag. So just putting this in doesn't equally make, oh, now Mississippi State's back on the same level as Ohio State. Wrong. The Ohio State's not going to stop paying players with deals. Like I think I just saw an article on the 5-star running back Michigan stole from Alabama, and he flat out said it wasn't really just the money. Alabama was trying to match the money. Michigan set him up with like some sponsorship where he's co-owner of a juice brand or something. Like how many other schools have a business school that's going to set you up as co-owner where you're going to get funds? That's like an NFL type deal you would get, right? With like Tom Brady and his TB12 workout supplements. Imagine having a college be like, oh yeah, this is our portfolio of guys doing their own stuff. Because like if you get hurt or whatever, guess what? You're already a businessman. You're already in it. Like look at what happened with Lattimore from USC. Remember he tore his knee all up?
Yeah.
He had nowhere to go. And then he tried to even come back and coach, and the NCAA was like, nope, you're too good. People remember that you were good. That's going to help recruiting. Can't have that. But like Alabama can have all their pros working out, right? Not a big deal. Lattimore coming back? Nah, son, get out of here. Not one. Go coach somewhere else. So that's my updated rant on that. SEC has all these teams highly ranked in baseball. Why? Why do they have that? I mean, ACC, like UNC, come on, dude, why are you choking? And then I heard their coach like quoting the Bible after they choked. It's like, all right, buddy, good story, but don't choke. Don't choke. That's my moral of the story. If you want to be considered one of the top conferences, or like, I mean, I'm sure UNC doesn't care about elevating the ACC at this point. And the ACC, I'm still thinking, has tons of infighting, whether they say it or not. The meetings have to be so uncomfortable. Can you imagine? Like, hey, what's up, Clemson? What are you guys doing? Hating you? Like, that's like in the back of their head. I'm hating you right now because you guys are doing nothing for the conference. We're carrying it. Like, come on. Put Clemson back on the map. Clemson just wants to compete in football. And if they don't think they're having like the resources to do that, or I brought up like Florida State. Florida's having like all these weird things happen to them. And in the SEC, if they're making less money for their roster, like even if they're making less than the Big Ten, if they're still making more than Florida State and Miami, it's going to be hard for Florida State and Miami to keep that depth up. Because all the new NCAA deal is saying, like, yo, it's not about people coming in and getting NIL advertisement deals, because you can get a deal, and I think that's where a lot of players are getting mad and transferring. They sign the contract, they don't end up playing or being good enough to make money off that contract, and then they get upset, right? That's where I think the Michigan approach, where if they're actually giving guys ownership, it doesn't matter. That guy doesn't have to be in the commercial. If they're like doing a car dealership and that dealership's selling tons of cars, guess what? They're making money. They could have a crap career, right? And then if you're going to be ownership, like if the deal is you stay here for 4 years and each year you get 2% more of the like ownership of this business, it'd be dumb to transfer then, right?
Yeah.
There are ways to put the contract in to make guys not transfer. Now, if they get there and they're not happy and they're not playing and they really think like, you know what, I should be in the NFL, then yeah, they're not going to care about whatever like ownership of like a small business in the area that you're going to care about, right? So it's going to be like a double-edged sword. I think it's still going to take some time to work out. But all this new court dealing is doing, it's going to kind of just balance out. They're trying to restrict how much the Big Ten is going to pay more so than like the ACC. So I think it will be a little bit better for competitive balance, but there's still a huge difference in the TV contracts. Where if the Big Ten's making, what did they make, $10 million more than the SEC this past year? That's like however many more million per player. Or per team split up by player or whatever. You're making you can be making double the money at some of these schools. Like from the Big Ten to the ACC, that has to be half the money, right? Even less than that for like the Big 12 and the other ones. So there's going to be a shift for some of these schools that are competing in other sports, baseball. And I'm not talking like I said, hockey, and them. They're going to have like Coastal Carolina where you're not tied to the conference. But some of the schools that were like, wow, the Big 12 is really good at like tennis. I wouldn't be surprised if like randomly they never win a tennis national championship ever again, because the Big Ten is paying double and there's not that many like top talented like gymnasts or tennis players or golfers. Like that's going to be the shift. And we'll see what happens with that. But is there anything you want to add?
No, I mean, I think you pretty much stated it. It's going to be how are you structuring your NIL packages, and I think you're going to see this continued balance of the top prospects are going to sign with these bigger conferences because they're going to have more money to throw at them. That's going to not just set themselves up for success, but their families as well. And I think when Saban retired, he kind of laid it out. That was like, we're entering into a new era. And quite frankly, it was just to the point where he just didn't want to have to relearn another system where he already had one that had worked for recruiting. And I think it's just going to be a matter of getting the right team to figure out between the collective and that combination between the portal and the recruiting end. I think you're still going to see that's going to be where teams are going to be the most successful. It'll almost be like an NFL style model. Where do you draft or do you rely on free agents? And you can only live with those mercenaries for so long.
And the last thing I'll add in too, to your point about the transfer portal, you're still going to have to battle the academic side of things, because some of these guys that are providing depth that have transferred into like Michigan, and I'll use Notre Dame as an example, they're transferring in to play at a top tier school, but they're also going there for the degree. I've seen multiple recruits say, hey, I'm grad transferring to Notre Dame or I'm grad transferring to Michigan because of their alumni network. And I know I'm probably not going to have a pro career at this point. I'm a fifth-year senior from so-and-so state. Like, I know I'm not getting drafted. I might get drafted, but I have a better chance, and I want to join, like, ex-alumni network or maybe get into coaching. And I've seen that. And that's still going to be a hard sell for some of these non-football schools to kind of offer that. You're not going to offer the football alumni network that like a Michigan or Notre Dame has. It's going to be tough to match that. You're like, I keep bringing up like a Mississippi State or someone, Ole Miss. Like, if a recruit's going to say, hey, I'm going to be a key depth piece. I'm transferring for my senior year. I'm going to be a grad transfer. Let's be real. They're not going to go to Ole Miss for a grad transfer. This is not going to happen, right? Like, nothing against those schools, but at some point, if you're setting yourself up for a career, we've seen it happen the past couple of years. That's why Notre Dame and Michigan kind of have solidified some of the transfer guys where they're coming in and you're getting guys from smaller schools and they're not looking anywhere else. Heck, I think Michigan just landed a guy that was between us and Notre Dame again. And the same exact reason. I think he was from East Carolina. He said the exact same thing. He said, I already have a daughter. I really am going for academics. And guess what? That could be a key contributor that you don't know. Maybe he's running scout team. I think he was a quarterback. Maybe he's running scout team. Maybe someone gets injured. You need a guy in a pinch. Like, having a guy come in and just be a key depth piece, especially like linemen, because that's what Michigan got that one grad transfer a year ago from like Stanford or something. How many guys are going to go from Stanford to Ole Miss to get their graduate degree? I'm like not knocking the school, but like that's just not something that happens. So there are going to be some built-in advantages still for some schools on the academic side, whether this NCAA payment thing pushes the academics to the back burner. But there are going to be a lot of schools, and I'll even call out like Duke for basketball, right? Who's going to benefit in basketball the most? Duke, UNC, right? Like there are going to be top academic institutions that have great athletics too, that are going to mix in, because like you could do the same thing. If you're a grad transfer, Matt, are you going to go to Duke or Alabama? Like, which grad degree would be better? Like, yeah, you're going to go to Duke. All things considered equal, like, yeah, that's going to be it. I don't care how much the SEC is hyping up and Duke's still in the ACC. Yeah, maybe that's why Duke stayed good at basketball through all this, because the academic stuff they can provide that other schools can't.
With the basketball end too, that's such a game changer because you can sign one or two players and really make a difference. Where unless you're talking about like a major dual threat quarterback, I don't know that that's helping your situation at all.
Well, we've seen it. Like when Michigan had Shoelace, like they didn't have the rest of the team. It was just him running around, awesome in the September. Then he got killed, and then team fell apart. Like the reason the Underwood signing for Michigan is like, oh wow, Michigan beat Alabama with a guy that only threw for 60 yards. How in the hell was their running game and defense that good? And then, oh my gosh, they're adding in a top quarterback? Okay, well maybe this will work out. Like that's how you get the hype first. You build the team a different way, and then like because we see it at USC all the time. How many top quarterbacks are they bringing in? They fix that defense yet, Matt? Right? That's a legit question. If you're a USC fan, it shouldn't be, hey, we get a top quarterback. It's like, what's our defense look like? I don't care. Like that's like at Michigan last year. It's like, okay, the quarterback is really killing us, but the defense wasn't as good until late in the year. And then it's like, okay, are we getting that coordinator back? Yes, we're bringing Wink back for year number 2. He got shunned by the NFL. He has to be pissed this year. And as long as the quarterback shows up and is consistent, this could be a special year because he shut down Ohio State's receiver and that Alabama guy, Williams. He shut down Jeremiah Smith and Williams in the last 2 games. I don't even think they combined for over 100 yards receiving. That's insane. No one could even stop with Smith in the playoffs. They should have called Wink up. Been like, dog, what are you doing? Like, send us some signals, do something. So that's why I think some of the teams, basketball, yeah, you can easily do that. Michigan flipped last year by getting those two transfers, Golden and Wolf. And then they went to the Sweet 16, Elite 8, I don't remember where they flamed out. And then this year, they bring in two other transfers, that 7'3" guy from UCLA, and then Yaxel from UAB. And now, Michigan's top 5 I've seen. I think they were ranked 4 in the Athletic going into the year. So two different teams built only on transfers, really. In basketball, you can be ranked in the top 5. That's insane. You can't do that for football. You can't just transfer in 2/3 of production. So, I don't know. Anything else you want to talk about this week?
No, I think that about covers it.
All right. Well, if there's anything you want us to talk about, let us know. Thanks for listening. Audio hopefully is back on track, and we will see you next week.